Hey, and I guess welcome back to another Vanguard Overdress video. So this time, since I've talked about the previous decks, I decided that since the new set is out in Japan, it has been out for a while. Sorry, this video is kind of late, but I thought I'd actually talk about the new support that came out and how to upgrade the deck. So for this one, it's how to upgrade your start deck, Bastion. Because it's a Bastion deck, I will not be talking about the other Keter Sanctuary cards, such as Divine Sisters, for example, because that's clearly support for the other ride line, Hexademol Magus, I think that's how you say it. But anyways, so this is just for Bastion support. And what I'm basically gonna do here is talk about the new cards that came out and what you should look out for, and what cards you'll probably want to pick up to put in your deck. This isn't a deck list or a deck profile or anything, so keep that in mind. As you can see here, these are the cards that I kind of recommend picking out. There are some that I couldn't get, but I'll talk about those later. So uh, yeah, let's just get into it, I guess. First of all, what you should definitely pick up is the over trigger here. Amartenoa. Amaltenoa? Yeah, sorry, I forgot how to pronounce it in English. But anyways, we have the over trigger here, and you definitely want to replace the start deck over trigger with this one. So what this over trigger does is that when you drive check it, activate it, choose one of your units, give it 1 million power, right? That's what all over triggers do. And and then if it comes out as a trigger, like again in your drive check, then you can activate its additional effect, which is even if a rear guard is attacking, you can perform a drive check. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. Um, since it says drive check, I am assuming they mean one drive instead of two, because Bastion is gonna work with grade 3s a lot. But that's still really good. You get to add extra cards to your hand, and now your opponent will have to think whether will have to like worry about if you actually check a trigger when your rear guards attack now. So that does kind of make it so that you probably want to attack with Bastion maybe second, or perhaps even first, but that doesn't really change much, I guess. You see, you can attack with your rear guard first, attack with Bastion. If you check the over trigger, give it to your you can give it to your rear guard. Then if you check a grade 3, well, now you get to restand one of your grade 3 rears, and can attack again. It will perform a drive check, so you won't really lose anything. So just don't attack with Bastion last, is what I think you should do. I think that applies to a lot of decks as well, just because the over trigger. Uh, Anyways, moving on, we have Almirage Dragon, which is our new Sentinel here. You're definitely gonna want to pick it up, and it's actually not that expensive either. Well, when the set first came out, anyways, but I don't know about now. But anyways, so how is this different from your start deck Sentinel? Well, it says here that when your when this unit's placed on Guardian Circle, you can choose one of your units for that battle. It does not get hit. Um, if you have two or more cards in your hand, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So that's really good, because that means that if you have less than two cards in your hand, after calling this to Guardian Circle, of course, then you don't have to discard a hand. It's a free Sentinel. That also means that if you only have your Sentinel in hand, you can still perfect guard, allowing you to survive for longer. So you're definitely going to want to pick up the new Sentinels. They are only rares as well. They're not like double rares or anything. So yeah. Speaking of which, all the over triggers are actually double rares. So keep that in mind as well. I guess when it comes to pricing. but I'm not really going to talk about pricing here. Next, we have our Grade 3 Shield, actually. One of the cards that you, again, definitely want to pick up, and something I recommend playing 4 copies of as well. So it's actual analyst Kokabiel, and what she does is, on Guardian Circle, not rear guard or anything else, it's Guardian Circle. If your Vanguard is Bastion, then this unit gets 5k shield for 2 of your grade 3 units, including this unit. So that's really good, because it's basically, yeah, it's if you only have Bastion and you call this the Guardian Circle, it's already a 5k shield. So if you have other grade 3s on board, that just means that if you have 2 other grade 3s, then yeah, it's just a really big shield value, I guess. Can probably get up to 15k shield, maybe. That's most likely what's gonna happen. I think if you get your board, this can go up to 15k shield, like triggers, or perhaps just a 10k shield. Not to mention, because it includes this unit, you can also call like another copy of her to Guardian Circle, and right, even if it's just this card, 2 copies of this card in the Guardian Circle and Bastion, I think what's gonna happen is both skills will activate, right? So then both will be at 5k shield, so you'll have 10k shield just like that, but you are gonna have to throw away 2 cards. So anyways, it can be a big shield value, and it's really good because Bastion used to lack shield value, still kind of does, because now, well, you're gonna have a board, right? So this thing is gonna be big shield value, which means that even if you only need like a small amount to guard, you're kind of wasting it by using this card. But I mean, it's not that bad. It's really good. I really do recommend getting 4 copies of it. Next we have Great Snake Witch. Yeah, Great Snake Witch, Solaria. And what she does is, when discarded during your turn from your hand, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and draw a card. So, sorry, you can't see the art. Okay, here you go. So yeah, it's also really good. I don't know if you want to play 4 copies of this card. Maybe you will want to just play like 2 copies or 3 copies, perhaps, because there is another card to help you draw. But if you and that card is Aladin, by the way, I'll get to him later. If you don't have Aladin, then you can play this at 4 copies. It should not really be a problem, especially with the Counterblast and Soul Blast. It's not a heavy cost. And not only that, but you might be thinking, well, when am I going to discard her during my turn? Well, first of all, this this skill also applies when you're discarding her for the right deck, because it is your turn and you're discarding this card from your hand. So you can discard this card to like draw another one and break even, I guess, basically, when you are riding from the right deck. Or what you can also do is discard her for Bastion's skill. When Bastion is after the end of the battle, Bastion attacks. If a grade 3 came on your drive check, discard a card from your hand and then restand one of your rear guards, it gets 10k. That's what Bastion does. So you can use his skill, discard this card, Counterblast, Soul Blast 1, and draw another. So that's nice. It's a +1 to hand, and and then you get to restand your rear as well. So again, good combination with Bastion. So moving on, we have Knight of War damage for Sad. And again, this is another card that I really do recommend to play 4 copies of. You get max copies of this thing. It's a double rare as well, I believe. Yeah. So it's a double rare. So what he does is, first of all, on rear guard circle, which of course he'll be on rear because your van is not going to be this card in standard. He has resist, meaning he cannot be chosen by your opponent's skills. He cannot be chosen for your opponent's skills, basically. Target, I guess, is another word you can use. Yeah, he cannot be targeted, which is really good. That's what we call resist here, if you didn't know. And his second skill is when his attack hits, counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. So again, this is your counter charger and your soul charger, which is really good because a lot of cards such as Aladin and Solaria take up counter blast and soul blast. So this will help you like sort of break that break even on the cost. Like gonna be free, if you only spend one counter blast and one soul blast for Solaria, for example, then 4 shot hits, that's free. You get your resources taken back. Now another card I do want to talk about is Dark Strain Dragon, and here he is a rare, right? Yep, he's a rare. Just checking. Anyways, so this is another card that is kind of good, but I'm not sure if you should play 4 copies. Perhaps minimum 2 copies and max maybe 3. You might want to run 4 if you take out Rooks, and I'll explain why after I explain his skill. So what he does is that if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, right, your Vanguard's already going to be 1 if you're on Bastion. If you have 3 or more grade 3 units, Soul Blast 2, and all of your grade 3s get boost for that turn, including this unit. So that's really good. It basically means you will have 15k boosters as long as you have grade 3s. And that's like really, that's kind of what Rooks was doing. Rooks got he's a 10k base and he gets 5k and boost if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, right? So that's why I'm saying that the only difference is that this requires cost Soul Blast 2, which is not that bad. Again, you have 4 shot also to get your soul back, and he's a grade 3, so you might want to cut Rooks so that you have a higher chance of getting your grade 3s, but you don't have to. I do recommend playing Rooks anyway. If you don't wanna, you don't have to get more copies of this card. Is what I'm saying. You can probably just get 2 or 3 and then the rest leave it up to Rooks, because like it's not that bad to just have 1 grade 2 in your deck, which you already are gonna have anyway. That's how it is in the start deck anyways. So like I'm saying, you don't need to completely replace Rooks. So that'll also help like save money, I guess, when you're building the deck as well. But just in general, you don't lose much if you don't play 4 copies of him. But he is a really good card, so yeah, I do recommend at least 2 or 3. Next is the Order card. And we have here Sword of Judgment. I think Swinging Sword of Judgment, yeah. So what it does is grade 3. This is a common, by the way. Soul Blast 1 grade 3. So you will either have to Persona Ride, or you can use Broadaxe from the start deck to fulfill the conditions. Soul Blast 1 grade 3. Choose one of your opponent's units, rear guards, and your opponent has to put every rear guard in that row to the bottom of their deck. So if your opponent has a unit in the front row and maybe a booster in the back, now you can send both those units down. So that's really good. But you don't have to play so many copies of this Order card as well. I do recommend probably just 2 copies, maybe 3 if you really like what it does, but 2 copies should probably be fine. But anyways, so like I was saying, you can Persona Ride to fulfill the condition, or you can use Broadaxe, which his skill is on rear guard. It's an axe skill, by the way. You can put him into your soul and then choose one of your grade 3 rear guards that gets power plus 10k. So yeah, you can see how that works. Call Broadaxe, put him into soul, then you can use this and Soul Blast him. Remember that order cards can really be only used once per turn. Next, we have another order card, which I don't actually use in the deck yet, but it's still pretty good because it adds more shield value. So if you want to play Bastion with more defense, then I do suggest you run this card, maybe 2 or 3 copies as well. So here we have so it's Hopeful Testodo. It's a Blitz Order, so it's like the quick shield basically. You can only use it when you're guarding. So choose one. If you have 3 or more units, they don't have to be grade 3, they can be any grade. So if you have 3 or more units, choose one of your units, and then for that battle it gets power plus 15k. So you can choose Bastion when you're guarding, for example, and yeah, he'll just be 18k base for that battle. For that battle. So again, that's pretty good, and this is also a common. So I do recommend. I do recommend that if you want to play more defensively, you think that only using Coca BL is not enough shield, you can run 2 copies of this as well. But you also really don't need to. I do recommend you probably make space for this order card or the other cards left over rather than this one. But it's still a pretty good card. So the remaining cards I want to talk about, I actually don't have a copy of them. I didn't pick them up yet, but I'll just put up like their picture on screen and I'll explain what they do. So first of all, we have the grade 3 Aladin actually that I want to talk about. Grand Heavenly Sword Aladin, and he's the other triple rare here for Keter Sanctuary, and he's just a really good card. So what he does is, when you call him to rear guard circle, you can counter blast 2 and soul blast 1 to call one card from your hand, and if you call a grade 3, draw 2 cards. So it's basically like the order card, except it doesn't give you power, and it does require 1 soul as well, but rather than just counter blast 2, but that's like again not a problem. Soul is not, it's not a heavy cost. It's like just soul blast 1, not to mention you have force out as well, so that's why you can actually play him. And if you do play Aladin, a lot of people play 4 copies of him, and I can see why, but perhaps you can also just play maybe 3 copies, but 4 copies is of course like really good as well, because he's just a good card in general. So he also mixes well with Forsad, and I really do recommend you run Forsad if you have 4 copies of Aladin. If you're going to be playing Aladin, that is. Just because, he's going to help you get your resources back. So, again, it's not once per turn as well. So if you have 4 counter blasts and 2 soul, you can use his skill twice. You can also call him, I guess, with his own skill, but I don't recommend doing that. Anyways, so you do get to draw. Bastion plays a lot of grade 3s, so you're obviously gonna have plenty of grade 3s in your hand to call. Another thing that you can do, but I don't recommend, is if you don't have anything else to call, you can call this. You can call your order card, and it will go to the drop zone, but it fulfills the condition of calling a grade 3. So you get to draw 2, but then that's like +0 to field because he goes to drop, and like a +1 to hand as well, or not really +1. It's more like breaking even, +0. Since you had to call Aladin and then you had to call this card. So anyways, I do recommend running him. Maybe 2 copies if he's a bit expensive, because you still also have the order card that can let you do the same thing. The only thing is that it's not a unit. But I do, if you can get like 4 copies of him, then I do recommend running playset. His other skill I almost forgot to mention, by the way, is that if you have 3 or more grade 3 units on the field, then when this unit attacks, it gets power plus uh, 3 power plus 2k until end of that battle. Whoops. I Sorry, it's not 3k. Sorry, not 2k. It was 5k. So he's basically 20k unboosted. Um, so yeah, he's really good. He just hits for higher numbers, and he's another grade 3 unit as well. Um, One thing I'll probably mention is that his skill does work. I think um, his skill does work if you superior call him. So if you end up using fourth skill and you get on the top of your deck, it's all done, and you called him the rearguard circle. If you somehow have, you're gonna have soul, you're gonna have one soul, but if you somehow have two counter blasts, like if your opponent rushed you, for example, then you can also use his skill there to get like another grade 3 on board and draw 2 cards really early on. So during your grade 2 turn, you'll have 2 grade 3s on the board. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but again, I don't think that's really gonna happen. Probably not. So yeah, moving on, we have Painkiller Angel. So this is this is a grade 1 that I do um, kind of recommend. I think if you're not going to be running cards like Aladin, for example, just because what she does is at the end of the battle that this unit boosted, Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit to draw a card. So she does help you draw again plus the hand, just like Solaria, and for only 1 Soul Blast. So it's not that bad, but like I said, compared to everything else, like I mentioned the other cards, so compared to all those, like Solaria or Aladin, it's not really that great. It is also a grade 1, so it doesn't really work with Bastion skill, like she won't get power from Bastion, for example. So that's why I do recommend that if you don't get the other cards here, you play her. Or if you want, like 2 copies, maybe, if you really want to play that card. But yeah, so moving on, we have remission swordfan. I think that's how you pronounce it. So this definitely does look like an angel feather card. But anyways, so what she does is when this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, then you can counter blast 2. She gets 1 crit till end of that battle, I think. And it's not bad, but again, compared to the other cards here, it's also not really that great. I don't really recommend you run this in Bastion, but I also think it's not like a bad thing, because it does help you push more, but it is counter blast 2 and that's kind of heavy, so I don't recommend running her and Aladin in the same deck. Or her and like the order card that lets you draw 2 cards as well, because those require 2 counter blasts. So again, they'll just make it way more counter blast heavy, and I don't recommend it. But if you don't run Aladin, or you don't run like some other cards such as like Great Snake Witch Solaria, then perhaps you can fit her in as well, just because of that crit. So if your opponent will probably definitely want to guard that attack, right? But I don't feel like it's worth it just for that pressure. Like I said, if you're not running Aladin, for example, or like some of these other cards, that is a good card to put in. It's still like a decent card. Since you're probably still going to be hitting for high numbers, and as long as you have 2 counter blasts, then your opponent is going to have to like worry about an extra crit. Not to mention if you check another critical trigger on your drive check. And again, combined with the over trigger as well, then that unit can perform a drive check. So it's not a bad card, but probably only run her if you don't have the other options. So yeah, that's it. I think that's all the Bastion support um for Keter Sanctuary in the first set. And I know this is like in English, so I am sort of directing this at all the English players that are looking forward to the English version of the set coming out. All of these cards you can see here are in Japanese. Most of the pictures I put up also are in Japanese as well, just because the English version of the card is not out yet. Um, so this is for Keter Sanctuary, because it's kind of the deck the clan I plan to main. I really do like it, and I do like playing Bastion. That's the deck I want to play. So yeah, if you guys, I hope you guys found this video useful. Even though it's like pretty long, and it's just me talking like this, but I hope you guys do enjoy it, and you look forward to the new cards. And if I missed something or there's like another card you kind of want to talk about, then mention it in the comments, I guess. And I might actually do a deck profile or like a deck list for Bastion as well after I test out my deck even more, because lately I haven't been able to fight face to face lately, because Corona and all that. But yeah, so if you guys also want me to like make a video like this, like how to upgrade your start deck for like another clan, then also mention it. Maybe for um, Dark States or Dragon Empire, I can sort of do one of those. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in another overdress video if I make one, I guess. Then yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and bye.